Hey everyone, I have here Lego's Batmobile, the Penguin Chase set, and this is from The Batman, the upcoming 2022 movie starring Robert Pattinson. The set comes with just the basic stuff that you need, the Batmobile, Batman himself, and the Penguin to chase after with no vehicle for the Penguin. But I'm going to focus, of course, first on the Batmobile, and I will say that the build for this thing right from the start was odd. It was strangely paced, and it felt weird. It felt different. It felt very unexpected, not particularly in a good or bad way. It's just that there are three main bags to the assembly of this, three main bags of parts in the set. And you build bag one, and it gives you kind of some of the foundations of the chassis and stuff. And that's to be expected for something this big with this many pieces. You build bag two, and it's more foundation of the chassis and such. And then you build the first half of bag three, and it still doesn't really look like it's gonna be a car. And then all of a sudden, right at the end, the last little bits of stuff get added to bring in the verticality. You get the engine in there, you get the roof, and then it's done. And suddenly it looks like a car. Like most of the time throughout this, it did not feel like I was building this. And that's just weird. But it worked out. It worked out in the end. And it worked out really, really fantastically well. In my personal opinion, I think that this is a little bit aggressive with its forward rake compared to the in-universe thing. But I think that the larger, more expensive Technic model that they did to represent this car, which I will cover separately, went the opposite direction and went too flat, went too close to the ground. But I think it's a little bit better to go in this direction than the other, because it is an aggressive mod of a classic muscle car, classic American muscle car in universe. This has a lot of nice details, and it hides away its functionality with the built-in, let's see if I can get this to focus here. Yeah, with the built-in spring-loaded shooters, you can see they use the silver-colored bolts for those. And then these are the actuators here on top. These kind of tiles are first used for Unikitty, and you can fire there. Fire there. That one is now gone, but I'll put this one back in. Once you fire, leaves a little bit of yellow behind. And the reason that yellow is there is that when you look at this from the top, when it's loaded up, when the shots have not been fired off, you can see just a little bit of yellow coming through the couple of holes there. Similarly, when you look from the front, right down here above the spring-loaded shooters, there are a couple of trans orange studs right there with yellow back behind it, to help try to bring a little bit of light in there. And also, if you look just under this 2x2 stickered tile, that's very difficult to see. But if I bump up the light and get the light to shine in there just right, you can see, again, a little bit of trans orange backed by yellow, giving just a little hint of glow. Now, there's not but so much that you can do without the addition of artificial light, but I appreciate all that effort that the designer put in to try to get just the subtlety of the glow that this thing has. Also, the angled, I don't know if those are exhausts or bleed valves for nitrous or what, but little angling back there is nice with the small details. This is a form of exhaust or another bleed element, letting out a little bit of hot gas and flame, which also has an angle back to it, so it's not just completely straight. And then you go all the way to the engine at the rear, and this is just incredible. This is top stuff right here. I think this is the most detail that we've ever gotten, the most realistic detail that we've ever gotten from a Lego minifigure scaled thing to represent an engine. It's just so compact, but gives you so much goodness. They use the Speed Champions printed piece there, use some of the blast and splat parts, got the printed dial off to the side. This is not supposed to represent purely a standard internal combustion engine as we're used to them. I think this has hybrid power, part of it's plasma or something. I don't know exactly what they're going to go for, but you've got, I think, multiple power units in this, and this one just looks great to me. I also appreciate how they got these. Again, I don't know what they are. Maybe those are supposed to represent intakes, but they're angled off to the sides. Those actually use silver-colored fez pieces. I think this is the first time we've gotten those in silver. Very useful. And you can see a little bit of red for the rear window there, and a little bit of red comes through even as you view this from the front. So you can see that little bit of menacing red suggestion just all the way in the back. This does use a fair number of stickers for some of the small detail, including a rather large one up top, and it's really easy to get to the interior. This does have room for 2 figures in there that can fit easily because this is built using the basic design, the starting point of the modern 8-wide Speed Champions cars. And they did use light gray colored flowers under there to bring in a little bit more detail, suggestions of maybe some knobs. You've almost got, with the pneumatic T-piece used here, the suggestion of a steering column mounted shifter, again from a classic car that this is based on. But it's all interesting stuff. It's all very sturdy as well. Not many things that I worry about falling off during regular play, but yeah, it was just such a unique building experience. And I think in the end, it worked out pretty well. I wanted to line these up to give you a better sense of size and scale really quickly. So a couple of older Mopar cars. This is based off kind of a combination of these two stylistically, but this is the Speed Champions 6-wide, Speed Champions 8-wide, so like Charger, Challenger, and I really feel like this is a little bit of both, but this is bigger still, significantly, noticeably bigger still, and then compared to the Tumbler, the minifig scale, the most recent small Tumbler. Well, Tumbler dwarfs this, but it's not that big of a difference. It feels like they're kind of in the same universe. That windscreen really helps to show the scale of this one, which feels larger than the scale of the Tumbler. I think that in universe, this actually should be smaller, relatively speaking. Not the first time we've gotten a Robert Pattinson figure from Lego, but I believe it is the first time we've gotten a Colin Farrell figure. I think that this figure actually looks, on the right for Penguin, actually looks more like Colin Farrell than the character does in the movie. From what we've seen thus far, they did a pretty amazing job with the prosthetics and the makeup work with him, with the special effects work with him. But Lego, I think, has done a good job with both of these figures, with one exception, maybe two. Okay, Batman on the left could have gotten dual molded legs for this. Just across the board, they could have and should have done that, especially since they put so much of the gray down into the legs with the printing, which is done well. But could have been continued around the side without the use of additional print by just doing that dual molding. Now, the Penguin, I think, is good from head to toe. I really like that. Penguin also includes the new version of stud shooter that they've just introduced, and it looks like they're going to be using that quite a bit more in the future. And he also has a long hilt piece in black here. Looking around the back, more great printing on the back of the Batman here. Like that very much. And underneath, you get an alternate face there. Underneath, again, alternate face there, even more Colin Farrell-like, if you ask me. Just looks more like him. But, wait, there's more. Yeah, they included not only a hairpiece for the Drifter, or, Bruce Wayne unmasked, they also included an entire additional headpiece that doesn't have the white sweatband, the white headband to show the eyes through the cowl. So that's a little bit deluxe and, going above and beyond what they normally do. And I do appreciate that. This one framed up with the hair. I think it's important to frame that up with the hair so you can see what that looks like. That's pretty good. One thing that I do very much question, though, is the use of this cowl, this full cowl, compared to the other one that they have and have used plenty in the past that's more accurate to the movie. At least from what we've seen thus far, he does not have a chin strap. This version of the Batman does not have a chin strap. And I do like the other cowl, the one that they did include in this set, better from many angles, especially from head on. But this is just so much more accurate that it doesn't feel to me like there was any good justification to use this one. It's just too far off and too obvious. Should have looked like that. Spare parts selection is pretty generous here, with a bunch of the remainder from a given pack of these light blue colored blast and splat pieces, a couple extra bolts in silver, extra studs for your stud shooter for the Joker, one each of the extra prints, a few other little interesting pieces in here. This is the trigger for the new stud shooter, and the sticker sheet for this set, well, had a lot of stickers on it for its size again. This set cost $30 US for just shy of 400 pieces with 2 figures. And I feel like that's a little bit high personally for what you get. I mean, ultimately it is just a car that's designed to work with minifigures, and it holds 2 of them. There's a lot of detail here, and it's a big old car, but I personally would prefer to see this closer to the $20 range, maybe 25. I think just feels a little bit better to me when you compare it to a Speed Champions car. You compare it to a much smaller Lego City car that costs 1/3 as much. It just doesn't feel like this is that much stuff here. And so it feels just a little bit overpriced, but the build is really good. Happy with a lot of it. I just think that they did make the wrong choice with the cowl for this version of Batman. Could have used dual molded legs for it, and could have had just a little bit less forward rake to this, and it would have been pretty darn perfect, to be honest. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll talk to you again soon.